Good evening to everyone who is joining us today from India. Good afternoon to all our Middle Eastern, European, and African folks. And good morning to everyone who has joined us today from the West. We are live right now, and I can see people have started streaming in with us from YouTube. And all those of you who have joined this call and dialed in, can you just put up on the chat for me which city are you currently dialing from currently? I can see there are nearly about 100 of you who have joined in. If you can put on the chat, which city are you dialing in from? Okay, I can see someone has joined us from Hyderabad, from Delhi, from Pune. Many of you all have joined us from the IT capital of India, Bangalore. There are people from Haryana, from Uttar Pradesh. We have again people from Accra, Ghana joining us as well. People from Kurukshetra, Haryana are joining in as well. From Maharashtra, across the lengths and breadths of India and various other countries across the globe have joined us today. It's about 1:30 of us on the call, and I would be quickly launching a short poll. Um, yeah. So if you can tell us right now which application of machine learning excites you the most. Is it about its application in healthcare, autonomous vehicles, finance, retail, cybersecurity, or any other application as such? So we'll be keeping this poll on for the next couple of seconds. And just a second. All right. Many of you all have answered the poll already. Those who haven't answered, please go ahead and hit the poll right now. All right, I can see many of you all have answered that you are excited about its applications in healthcare. So yes, this is the topic which we would be understanding about today. Before I go ahead, quickly introducing myself, I am Moin Matar Naik and I am representing Seed Global Education today. And we have got an amazing session today on machine learning and deep learning for electroencephalography-based brain signal analysis. And this opportunity is brought to you by George Washington University School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, which is one of the top reputed STEM schools in the United States, or as we call it, George Washington Engineering. It is located in the heart of Washington, D.C. GW Engineering offers not just academic excellence, but also an incredible vantage point. Their campus is nested amongst the world-renowned landmarks such as Lincoln Memorial, Jefferson Memorial, Washington Monument, United States Capitol, State Department, and many pivotal international hubs like the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, and over 177 plus foreign embassies. In fact, George Washington students offer benefit from direct connections to these global institutions with unparalleled opportunities for internships and real-world experience in engineering and technology sectors. In the next 1 hour, we are going to be discussing on machine learning and deep learning for electroencephalography-based brain signal analysis and its rapidly evolving field of machine learning, with a particular emphasis on the different deep learning techniques which are applied to it. We are also going to be learning about the ongoing interdisciplinary collaborations which are happening in this field and how various partnerships are advancing the use of machine learning in healthcare. All right, now let me introduce you to two of the esteemed dignitaries who have joined us today. Dr. Qu, who is the Assistant Professor of Practice at the George Washington University School of Engineering and Applied Sciences. His research focuses on developing neuro-inspired algorithms for time series data such as RNNs, recurrent neural networks, and various transformer models. On the brain signal side, Dr. Qu specializes in non-invasive techniques, particularly electroencephalography, for both clinical as well as non-clinical applications. His work has been applied to various critical areas such as mental health and cognitive neuroscience, with ongoing collaborations with Harvard Medical School and GW Hospital. Thank you so much, Dr. Qu, for joining us today. Also, we have Ms. Catherine Huggins, who is the Associate Director for Admissions and International Partnerships at the George Washington University School of Engineering and Applied Sciences. She has played a key role in enrollment strategies for global students at GW Engineering and is dedicated to facilitating smooth admission processes for diverse applicants. Thank you so much, Kat, for joining us today. All right. With this, we would now be starting with our masterclass session, and over to you, Dr. Shu.
Okay, thank you for the introduction, one. And let me share my screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, Dr. Shu, it's visible.
Great. Okay, so this is my research, mainly focused on applying machine learning to the brain-computer interface, and the other way around, and motivated by the neuroscience, develop some new neural network or kind of a deep learning method, motivated by the neuroscience and social net and neural networks. Here's the research mainly kind of covered about, and I see quite a few of you answer the poll. You like the healthcare part, that's pretty good. Part of my research is doing the clinical healthcare related applications together with hospitals and medical school. I put here for example, one of the disease is the first episode psychosis. So that's the one of the paper we published together with the Harvard Medical School. And we do a lot of brain signal analysis and help the doctor to figure out whether that kind of intervention is helpful for the patients 6 months later. And also, we do a lot of non-clinical part, and mainly is focusing on the sleeping or the emotion or the motor imagery, which is imagine directions up, down, left, and right. So a lot of you may watch this kind of movies before. On the top left is Avatar. So people upload their kind of brain signals, and then in the kind of other planet, you can just download your minds and do another life there. And then my first name starts X. So when I was in college, so I want to be the Professor X or Dr. X in the left bottom, which is the X-Men series. So there's a lot of brain signals control over the X-Men series. Last but not least, gaming industry is using all kinds of new technology, including the brain-computer interface to control the gaming in the virtual reality or the game world. So this is a kind of simple explanation about what kind of brain signals people are working on from the clinical field. Of course, this red area is put the kind of connections, chips, lines into the brain, and it's more accurate. So Elon Musk team is working this kind of thing. And the Harvard team, MIT team, we primarily working on the non-invasive, the blue part. It's a little bit safer, and it's just putting sensors on people's skins. And this is Elon Musk, and of course, this is his experiment, not Elon Musk himself. His team, Neuralinks, is trying to put the chips plant into human or monkey or mouse head, and they're doing a lot of kind of adventurous research. And this is one of the monkey play the games. We are showing our games. Of course, we are doing in a safer way using non-invasive devices. So first, for the clinical part, so we collaborate with Harvard Medical School and multiple universities and the hospitals, and we gather the data from the hospital. And there's a joke that at Harvard, the brain signals has been saved 90 years, and not a lot of kind of brain signals have been analysis using the most recent machine learning and deep learning because the patient passed away and the doctor in charge of the patient also passed away, but the data is still there. So a lot of good hospital and the medical school are now adapting new machine learning and deep learning to get more insights from their historical data. And this is me at Harvard University. So you can see this one is the clinical way has 128 sensor and eye tracking sensor behind my eyes. So this one is accurate, but as you can see, take a long time to set it up. So I will skip a lot of the research details and leave it for the Q&A session or someone who actually interested in doing some healthcare or clinical research part. We will talk about those kind of things more. So basically, this is the typical clinical study. You collect the basic information from the patients, and then you do a 6 months follow-up of the patient. And this way, you can identify whether this intervention, this treatment, this thing the doctor recommend to the patient actually have an effect in the 6 months period. And then this is how we do the kind of research, how we filtered out those kind of things that's specialized for that certain disease with a certain area of the brain. So this part you can see with that so many sensors, you can see the blue area here. That's the kind of sensors we can monitor the change when we ask the patient to redo the test at 6 months compared with the baseline. Yeah, and you can see in different position of the head, patient's brain signals with the trigger. The trigger happens somewhere here, and in the front hand of the head, the signal is much more obvious than the back end of the head. And then we do the basic machine learning. We start with the k-means to try to find the sectors. As you can see, usually we find the binary kind of cluster at the beginning. You can see from the brain signal, the top one and the bottom one are two different level of the signals. And our hypothesis is that after 6 months, the patient should get better. Our result is individually, yes, it's get better. But if we talking about all the kind of 400 patients, some of people getting a lot better and other people get a slightly better or remain the same. So the individual difference is still kind of huge, especially talking about human brains. And then non-invasive, so we have a lot of kind of interesting image and even video to share. So we use this kind of easy to wear compared to that clinical one. We use the 5 sensor, easy to wear headband, 2 sensors on the forehead, 2 sensors behind the ears, and 1 sensor as the reference. So we've done a lot of things like writing, typing, programming, and counting, do all those kind of things. Computer science students will do and collect information, trying to figure out what can be done to understand education, understand learning. And this is one professor wearing this one, reading a book. There's one student wearing the device, doing some typical writing and reading task. And this is the 4 sensors. We actually use 2 on the kind of forehead and 2 behind the ears. And again, this is the signal looks like. As you can see, we have a kind of 1 minute task, and you can see the difference from here to here. It's the brain signal change dramatically. And these 2 are behind the ears, the middle 2 are the forehead. You can see at a glance, there are some significant change. So we collaborate with the neural department to define what's the best attack to try, and then what's the machine learning algorithm. It's on our shoulder to determine how to better recognize this kind of pattern. And as you can see, the x-axis is always the time, and we have different band width for the from gamma to delta, different type of the brain wave. And then this is our typical research. And for other machine learning based health data research, we collect the data and then we figure out the pattern for the data. Usually we start with unsupervised learning and find the pattern. And then we continue with the hypothesis and trying to prove it, use the supervised learning, and eventually get human feedback. And then this is the way how to increase the accuracy and trying to make a kind of prove our hypothesis or reject our hypothesis. And this is one of the kind of machine learning algorithm we developed. So basically, students like to call us kind of a magician of the time and space, because all the medical data, clinical data, they are over time. So how to monitor the change over time is very important. So this is a algorithm we developed based on changing some features on the time and combined with machine learning and deep learning method. And this is the result. At that time, we are still working on the basic machine learning part. We use this one to teach in the machine learning course. So that's the basic machine learning, random forest, and SVM, those kind of things, LDA, and that's the basic deep learning, CNN, LSTM. And later, this is a kind of the structure. If you're doing machine learning or deep learning, a diagram to show how your machine learning, deep learning algorithm works is always required in the paper. And then a result like this, so how this one change based on the kind of different machine learning algorithms. So you can say in this particular experiment, which algorithm is better than the other one. As you can see, this is a simple experiment with about kind of 20 subject, 20 participant, 20 patient, and the individual difference is here. For example, subject 10, not working that much, but subject 1 and 9, the classification of the task and all the things we try to detect is super clear. So echo our common sense. Brain signal is unique for each individual. And this one is the most recent thing. So in the last, I have done this kind of machine learning and deep learning on the brain signals for more than 10 years. Last 30 years, our teams focus on transformer. Attention is all you need. All this kind of classic paper, the attention thing, so popular. So our recent 3 years student paper and professor paper are focused on the transformer and trying to compare with all the other machine learning algorithms. And then, as you know, ChatGPT, P and T stands for pre-trained transformer. And that part is often the state-of-art deep learning method we are experiencing in our current machine learning and deep learning experiments. As you can see, this is a vision transformer, and this is one of our recent paper. And the kind of absolute position represent the guess. So you are trying to use the brain signal, detect the participant where they are looking at the screen. The smaller, the better. And all the traditional machine learning, the result is pretty high. And when we enter the deep learning, CNN, the convolutional neural network, 70, and the vision-based transformer, 50. So that's the typical research we are doing, and that's the typical result we get. And then here are the kind of things we focus on: convolutional neural network, recurrent neural network. I will give a quick overview about the machine learning I'm teaching this semester later. And these are the machine learning and deep learning algorithm we usually focus on 15 weeks of master class. And we care about real world data set. So this is several kind of brain computer interface data set we are using, including the Children's Hospital Boston MIT one. That's a pretty good one. And we also have the George Washington Hospital and Harvard Medical School data and those kind of public clinical data about brain signals. Okay, back to a quick summary. So my research is machine learning and deep learning applied to a certain field, and this certain field is brain-computer interface. It has two applications. Clinical part, a certain disease, depends on the clinical professors, what they like, and we will help them to identify more. Non-clinical, we define in the study-related, educational-related, and the other one, games. So I do this kind of presentation many times, so a lot of students like the gaming part, so I have some extra slides, extra part to show the gaming part later. And this is a kind of overview about machine learning and deep learning. So in our first several class, people always ask the question, what's the difference, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning? Usually that's the time we introduce this slide. Artificial intelligence is a big kind of circle, and anything your robots and are doing things automatically, not programming a lot, is artificial intelligence. Machine learning is a subfield of artificial intelligence focusing on pattern recognition. Deep learning, as you know, deep learning, the deep means the deep neural network is more than 3 layers of a neural network. It's considered deep learning. And deep learning is just become popular in the most recent decade. and all the kind of top achievers, including the ChatGPT, and the recognize of cats and dogs, or autonomous driving, all using deep learning. And deep learning and and those kind of AI has many application field. Most popular is computer vision and natural language processing, and then a lot of others like robotics. And I choose to apply those kind of things in the brain-computer interface. Beyond that, AI and machine learning and deep learning have a lot of applications. During the last several years, I not only advise kind of PhD students focus on my part, I also advise master student and undergrad students. They have all kind of different interests. So I have advised students in those kind of different majors public interdisciplinary research papers together with me. Math, econ, and physics, of course, they are the basic STEM things. So people have double major in this kind of things, are interested in those kind of things. We do a lot of kind of machine learning together with math and those kind of things to improve the machine learning algorithms or apply to physics education. Recently, we just published a paper helping some student double major in computer science and physics how to improve the education learning using generative AI to better learn the college level physics courses, because physics has a lot of abstract concept and difficult experiment. Can we use AI to facilitate that one? That's an interesting paper. And then, of course, neuroscience psychology is better to understand the human brain and psychology part. And surprisingly, a lot of political science. As you guys know, this year is the election year in the United States. And 4 years ago, 2020, I have some students publish a lot of paper, understand how the social media shape the political views, especially in different area, different regions of the country and of the world. Now, of course, different version of the social science part. Okay, we will save the question after Catherine's great presentation together. So currently it's the fun part. So I wanted to show you guys some interesting things first, and then talk about the machine learning course you may see here at the George Washington University. First, the photos. So my students always told me the photos is interesting. So as you can see, this is a kind of a skiing racing game. This is one of my students. As you can see, we use this kind of simple sensor-based brain-computer interface headset control this penguin do the ski. We can detect left and right, and this is the skiing video and photos. And we focus on kind of without our hands, we can purely use our brain to control this kind of racing game. So pretty much so far, using the simple technology like this, you can control left and right. All the kind of find the path in the maze, or this kind of amazing, this kind of racing games. And then another thing is the conference. So here are the students, especially targeting the master students, published papers together with me and my research lab in the conference. And this is the conference, and this guy and this two gentlemen are the master students, and this is an undergrad students, and this is the other audience in the after the presentation. And this is another kind of photos of us. And as you can see, a lot of international students. And me and this lady are the co-chair of the sessions. And we take a picture of the presenters after the session. And another one, so as some of you guys may know, KDD is the #1 data science conference, and this is my two students. You can recognize his face, Nauf. He's the one who actually played the brain-controlled racing game. And this is George Washington University, KDD 2024. I really want to go. It's in Spain, Barcelona. But as a professor, I have to teach the first 2 weeks at the university, and I have been there multiple times. So I sent the two students there with our research fund, and they're pretty happy. And this is the top one data science conference. If you get kind of paper published here, it's pretty good for you for your next step for both career in the industry and in the academia. And this is our student at KDD and Barcelona, Spain. All right, let's go back to the course. So quick overview about myself. As you can see, I'm a professor at George Washington University. And here's a recent course I'm teaching. The reason why I'm here is because I teach machine learning course 4 times during the last 3 years. So I have something to say about that one. I also do a master's thesis at George Washington University. You have an option to do a master's thesis. That's 2 courses together with a professor. And the goal is trying to publish some paper. And that one usually is pretty helpful for your academia career if you want to apply for a doctorate degree or doing a machine learning research scientist position in top companies like Amazon or Google or Meta, those kind of things. I also teach some undergrad, senior capstone, and basic computer science core course, algorithm, and intro to computer science. And this is my kind of research related things. Currently, we have 15 students and 15 brain computer interface device. Last but not least, you guys are here for the master course. So this is an example of the master course. This is the CS, all the kind of things start from 6. That means it's a master course. All the things from 4 is a senior course. So this is a kind of master and senior student together. And it's a machine learning course I'm teaching the current semester. So what we're trying to do is we are trying to cover the most basic things. So we start with the top AI publications. So this session of machine learning is one of the interesting machine learning version course. Here, we're trying to motivate students to try the publications. And most students after the semester, they convert their final project to a publishable 12-page machine learning paper together with a GitHub repo. And half of the master students in the following semester or the following year get a paper published somewhere in the top 20 AI conference. So we start, for example, this semester, we start with supervised learning, classify, and then we talk about supervised learning. And the first half of the semester, we talk about the basics of the machine learning and the basics of machine learning research. And the second half of the semester, we talk about the deep learning part, especially focus on the most recent attention transformer technology. For example, the pre-trained transformer using the ChatGPT or the vision transformer using in the autonomous driving. I see autonomous driving is also a big part of the interest next to the healthcare in the poll. So there's a lot of interesting part here. And usually it's a 14 weeks well-tested curriculum and syllabus. We have teaching this one many times. And usually on the December, we will kind of have the final project due. And this one usually is a kind of a starting point of the machine learning. We call it a different version. So machine learning, intro to machine learning research, applied machine learning. We have so many machine learning variations due to the high demand from the students, especially master students and senior students who want to find a job or continue their academic adventure on the PhD part. So 80% of our master students go to industry. 15% of the students go to kind of graduate school, PhD level, trying to investigate something more, and 5% students doing other strange things, like kind of start up a great company, try to become the next Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. So feel free to try all the adventures, and looking forward to possibly see your application and probably see you in person at Washington, D.C. downtown. Last but not least, we are just 2 blocks from the White House. So some of our students, when they take a break, they just follow the kind of Revengers will go to the White House or go to the nice national park nearby to take a walk. That's it. So hand the microphone back to Moy.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Xu, for such an insightful explanation of the entire machine learning and deep learning techniques which are involved for electroencephalography-based brain signal analysis. I'm definitely sure all the students, all the engineers who had joined us today got to learn a great deal of things from your presentation. All right, moving ahead with the session, we are having another poll question for everyone. I'll be quickly launching this poll. Yeah. All right, so everyone who has joined us today, can you tell us what factor is most important to you if you are choosing a STEM master's program? Is it the various career advancement opportunities which you get, the different cutting edge research facilities which are available at the campuses of top US STEM schools, the location and campus environment like the one which GW has in Washington, D.C., the capital of United States, or scholarships and financial aid availability? All right, we have received a good amount of responses from you all. We'll be waiting for another 10 seconds. Closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. All right, so many of you all want to know more or consider career advancement opportunities and scholarships and financial aid availability as the most important factors when you are choosing a STEM master's program. So to help us with more details and additional insights into these things about the various programs which are there at George Washington Engineering, the eligibility to them, the scholarship opportunities, I would like to invite Ms. Catherine Huggins to throw additional light on them. Over to you, Catherine.
Hey, thank you so much, Moen, for introducing me. And thank you, Dr. Shu, for that amazing presentation on your research. I can see that there are already some questions coming in from the students, so I'll try to keep my presentation a little short so that we can move into the Q&A, talk a little bit more about your research, and maybe answer some questions about the admissions process as well. But first off, good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. It is about 10 o'clock in the morning for us here in Washington, D.C. As has been already said, my name is Catherine Huggins, and I am the Associate Director of Graduate Admissions and International Partnerships at the George Washington School of Engineering and Applied Science. So I'm going to speak pretty briefly about our graduate admissions programs, a little bit about the university and our schools, and of course, career services and funding, as was mentioned on that poll right there. All of those factors that were listed on the poll are certainly important, no matter what you put as your number one consideration when you're thinking about what graduate program to apply to and what maybe to choose to enroll in. These are all facets that you're going to have to be looking at to determine what's going to be the best fit program for you. So not just career services and the alumni network or financial opportunities, but also the facilities and the location and the quality of the program and the faculty available that you'll have the opportunity to work with and study under in your classes. There are over 4,000 universities in the United States alone. So if you're considering applying to study abroad in the US for your graduate studies, there are so many different options that you'll have to narrow down when it comes time for applying. And the most important thing is going to be finding the program that is the best fit for you, the best choice, because you're each individual students. What's going to be the right fit for you is going to be something special and unique. So let's talk a little bit more about George Washington University. We were founded in 1821 by an act of Congress. And we are actually unique in that we are predominantly a graduate institution. So we have about 10,000 students studying at the bachelor's level, but we have around 15,000 students studying at the master's and PhD level. We are made up of 3 different campuses. So our main campus is, of course, in the Foggy Bottom neighborhood that we've mentioned a few times already. That's in the heart of Washington, D.C., right near the White House and the World Bank and the IMF, as we've mentioned. We also have our Mount Vernon campus, which is in the neighborhood of Georgetown. It's about a 15-minute commute from the Foggy Bottom campus. It's got some athletic fields and some undergraduate dorms that students can have access to. And then we have our Virginia Science and Technology Research Campus, which is out in Northern Virginia near the DC airport. And we have shuttles that go between all 3 of these campuses so students can take advantage of all the resources available to them. The university itself is made up of 14 colleges and schools. So of course, School of Medicine, the Milken School of Public Health, the Columbian College of Arts and Sciences, the School of Business, but we're here today speaking specifically about the School of Engineering and Applied Science, which I hope is the right fit for all of you since you're here today wanting to learn about machine learning, which is definitely one of the fields that we cover. So we have 6 academic departments that include biomedical engineering, electrical and computer engineering, computer science, civil and environmental engineering, mechanical and aerospace engineering, and engineering management and systems engineering. And within those 6 departments, we offer about 11 different fields at both the master's and PhD level. We'll talk a little bit more about what those programs look like specifically, but across those departments, we have over 80 different tenured and tenure track faculty members who are teaching classes, who are advising students, who are conducting research, and some of them are even still working in the field as experts in their industries. And they are, of course, there to be mentors to our faculty, to our students, and to help further their field of expertise at the university and to grow their area of expertise and teach the future generations, such as yourselves. Specifically, our main hub is within the Science and Engineering Hall. That's right in the heart of that Foggy Bottom campus. It's actually located right across the street from our main metro stop, the Foggy Bottom GW metro stop, that makes it very easy for our students to commute around the city to get to and from campus and their home, to and from their internship, to and from whatever evening fun weekend plans you might have with your friends. It is LEED Gold certified, and at this point, it's about almost a decade old. We did open almost a decade ago, which is quite wild to think about, but it's still growing and always evolving. We do have a lot of different research spaces where our students do have access to conduct some of that work, including a Class 100 nanofabrication clean room, a high bay with a strong wall and strong floor for any civil students, and some high resolution imaging suites as well. It's also the main hub for all of our engineering students in terms of their classes, in terms of study spaces. It's where my grad admissions team has their offices, our faculty, as well as our career services, right, located on the 2nd floor. So if you end up enrolling at GW Engineering, you will probably spend the majority of your course time in this building, getting a chance to better know your classmates and the university itself. Now, in terms of programs that we offer, you can see a list here of the master's degrees that we provide. I also have a page showing our PhDs. They are typically pretty similar, except for the fact that at the master's level, we offer a cybersecurity and computer science degree and a data analytics degree. Our master's programs are typically 2 years in length. And as Dr. Qu mentioned, they are thesis optional, meaning that it is up to you to determine whether or not you want to pursue a thesis during your academic studies. If you don't want to, if you just want to get practical hands-on experience in classrooms, that is an option that you can pursue instead of conducting a thesis. These programs are typically 30 to 36 credits, so you might be able to finish it in a year and a half, but typically that 2-year length is the average. At the PhD level, we do offer these programs. Our PhDs are typically 4 to 6 years in length, and the variation is dependent on whether or not you are entering with a prior master's degree. So we do allow students to apply as what we call direct entry, meaning you can apply with only a bachelor's. Obviously, if that is something you want to pursue, it's going to be very competitive. We're going to be looking for very strong candidates who have a high CGPA and some demonstrated experience in research, potentially a publication under your name or whatnot. And it will take you a little longer before you get to begin your dissertation. So you'll have to complete 54 credit hours before you begin your dissertation if you do not have a master's degree, compared to those with a master's degree who only need to do about 30 credit hours of coursework before they begin their dissertation. In terms of funding, we do offer scholarships and funding opportunities to all of our applicants. So at the master's level, we do have merit-based tuition discounts. Those range from 25 to 75%. Obviously, the higher that percentage amount goes, the fewer number of awards we're granting and the more competitive the review process becomes. Now, there is no separate application. If you apply for admission, you will be considered for one of these awards at the master's level. And when you get your admissions offer, if you are accepted, you will know in the same letter whether or not you're receiving one of these 3 scholarships. At the doctoral level, similarly, there is no separate application, but you will be considered for funding directly by the faculty in the academic department that you are applying. So those are typically going to look like teaching or research assistantships that will typically reflect the most common full funding offers that you are probably most familiar with at the graduate level. That would include full tuition coverage, a monthly stipend, and living expenses, and potentially a salary, depending on what type of assistantship you are awarded. This would be funded directly by your academic advisor. And what I want to make clear is that at the PhD level, you are not required to reach out to any faculty before you apply, but you're certainly welcome to if you'd like. All of their emails are publicly available on our website. So you are able to reach out to them and introduce yourself. But if you don't hear back from them, please don't be discouraged. On your application, you will have to identify which faculty you're interested in working with, but it will be up to the discretion of the department to decide if you're admitted, which faculty member will be assigned as your advisor. Last, I just want to talk to you a little bit more about some other opportunities at the university. Of course, we have our university-wide Career Services Center, but one unique thing at the School of Engineering is we have the specific W. Scott Amy Career Services Center, which is a dedicated team that is available just for our engineering students. So they are professional counselors and career coaches who are very familiar with the engineering and applied science industries, both in the Washington, D.C. area and around the United States. And they're there for you to take advantage of their expertise and gain insight into resume building, cover letter assistance, mock interview preparation. They'll help you to provide networking opportunities with alumni and other professionals in the industry. And they'll also sometimes host career fairs where you can come and meet directly with employers who are visiting campus. I know that in the past they've arranged visits from Dell Computing who've come to do interviews with our students and offer summer internships to some of those strong candidates. And if you do end up getting a job offer, the Career Services Center is a great resource to help you with negotiating that salary. And they will also support you during the CPT and OPT processes. So they're a wonderful resource that I strongly encourage you to take advantage of looking into a little bit more if you choose to apply to GW Engineering. Because of course, since we're in the Washington, D.C. area, you do get the benefit of being in a metropolitan city with large international organizations and industries, both at the non-governmental and governmental agent levels at all facets. So we've got students who've gone on to work at Capital One, Facebook, Apple, Dell, Google, the US government, Raytheon, and so many more. And then because of our location, of course, we do have a cap on the number of students we can enroll, which does mean that our programs will always allow you to get that one-on-one expertise and relationship development with your faculty. So strongly encourage you to take a look about how well located we are in the DC area, of course. And then last, before I leave you, I just wanted to let you know that we do have an opportunity for you to connect with current students. So if you actually go to our website, you can chat directly with one of our 8 graduate ambassadors. We've tried to select students from both the master's and PhD level from all 6 of our academic departments. So if you're potentially interested in computer science, you could speak to Arsalan. If you're interested in mechanical and engineering, you can speak to Bangasu, and so on and so forth. And it's a really great opportunity for you to hear directly from one of our students about their experiences and why they chose GW and what they're enjoying about the programs. But that's the end of my presentation. So last, I just want to leave you with the fact that you do all now qualify for an application fee waiver if you choose to apply. So if you use this application fee waiver SEED MC 2024, you will waive the $80 app fee and be able to submit your application without paying that fee. But at this point, I want to open it up to questions, pass it back to Moen so that he can handle this Q&A. For both myself and Dr. Qu. But thank you so much for listening, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, Catherine, for explaining the entire process, the programs, eligibility, and scholarship opportunities for applying for various graduate programs at GW Engineering. All right. With this, we would be moving on with the Q&A session. Before I get started, if anyone who has joined in late and has any questions for Dr. Shu or for Ms. Catherine, feel free to use the Q&A box to ask your questions directly. All right. Getting started with the questions. Wow, there are quite a lot. Just a second. Yeah. All right. First question. First up, we have Dr. Shu. One of the students, Vishnu, who has joined us today, is asking how we can find such relevant data sets like the one which you had used in your research, which are the different open source platforms via which students can find such data sets which they can use for working on clinical data. So, yeah. Dr. Shu, you're on mute, actually.
Thanks. So short answer is clinical data usually require some privacy agreement to anonymize and use purely for research, not for commercial use. And then all the papers I'm using, so as a mainly two part. One part is the public available data set. If you directly go to my faculty page, which you can access, go to the cs.gwu.edu, and you can see all the 15 faculties name there. You can recognize my face and find me, and all the papers include the details about what kind of data set our team has used. And another thing to mention is if you want to find public data set, you'd better to find a research mentor, a professor, or at least a PhD student who actually using this one for more than 5 years. So the first 5 years in my PhD journey, I still have the same struggle, where to find a really good data set. Because easy to find data set, already dozens of papers, thousands of papers have been published. And high quality data set, hard to get. So I spent about 5 years to establish my pipeline to gather the clinical data through collaboration with hospitals. And for the public available things, I think it's the third year PhD time. I'm confident to figure out where I can get high quality, but new enough data set, and I can publish high quality papers. You can still find from my page, but my short answer for this one is you can start your own, but in the undergrad level and master level, you may not have enough time to investigate all the things. So find a research mentor. That could be the best way to find high quality data set.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Shu. Next question for you, Catherine. A couple of students have been asking us in particularly about research articles as well as research papers. How do they give an individual edge when it comes to an application process for graduate admissions or in the job market at large as well?
Yeah, of course. So what I would say is that in terms of the application requirements, we do ask that students provide a resume or CV, which would be a great opportunity for students to highlight any publications or research to their name. And certainly if it's relevant to their goals and to the potential graduate program they're applying to, they can talk about it in their statement of purpose and expand on what they're passionate about, why they've done this research already, why they want to further their studies into this area of focus. And it would certainly provide further context. What I don't want a student to think is that they need to have research experience, especially at the master's level. It's very common for students to come in without that background. Typically, students are going to be gaining that at the master's level. So when we're looking at each student, we are doing what's known as a holistic review, which means we are individually considering each student and looking at their specific application as a whole. So we're looking at your grades, we're looking at where you studied, your major, we're looking at your letters of recommendation, statement of purpose, resume, all those things that I've mentioned, and all of it together will provide a picture for us and help our faculty determine whether or not we make an admissions offer. So research certainly helpful. If you have that, it can provide context. It can tell us what you want to do, what you've been doing in the past. And if you know that you want to go on and do research in the future in your career, certainly having that background is always going to be a benefit for you, but it's not a needs must. If you're applying maybe for a PhD program, well, especially if you don't have a master's already, it would be very helpful to have that. But you can't go back in time and change what you've done. You can only change what you're doing from this point forward.
All right. Thank you for that, Catherine. Next question we have, Dr. Shu, is that one of the student, Paridarshan, is asking us that EEG readings definitely differ from person to person. For each and every individual, there's a different reading which comes up. So how can we make our machine learning models work better? How can we better attune them so that they consider every edge case scenario?
That's a great question. As we can expect from the common sense, every individual's brain signals is totally different. To kind of overcome this kind of difficulties, usually there are two directions. One direction is keep the task simple and get as much as possible participants. For example, one of our experiments just to think about left and right. Although everyone's brain is totally different, but when you just think about left and right, it's just two things. And you can get a pretty good kind of cross subject from different individuals result. And that one, the best result we got is 400 people. So you need to choose something simple and choose something choose a large number of participants. And the other direction is individualized. That's the direction we especially highlighted on the gaming industry and the clinical part. You record the same person many times. So currently we have some, that's why we like the hospital things, especially hospital, if you have a patient's history and patient data, they may have decades of record for the single patients. And that one actually show how the disease evolved or recover, or like Parkinson's or Alzheimer, we cannot stop it. We can just slow it down. So one individual long enough, intensive experiment and recording could kind of uncover a lot of insights about this individual particular brain pattern. That's a wonderful question.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Shu. Catherine, I know you answered this particular question previously, but Krishna is asking us as to how can one craft a compelling application when they are applying for a graduate program? What are the key areas they should focus on when it comes to essays, their personal statements, and recommendation letters? So how is the weightage which is taken into consideration by decision makers when they review an application?
Yeah, so as I mentioned already, we do what's known as that holistic review, which means we are looking at every aspect of the application. And that does mean, unfortunately, not any one area is going to be weighted more importantly or more significantly. It's just going to depend on the individual who's applying and where they're putting their attention. What I would say is that the things that they mentioned are the things that I always tell students to focus on improving. As I've already said, you can't go back in time. You can't change your undergraduate major. You can't change that CGPA that you have or the worst class that you did. But you can ask, strong faculty to write you a good letter of recommendation who know you well and personally and can advocate for you. You can work on writing drafts of your statement of purpose and again, writing that yourself, you guys. I know ChatGPT is a tool that some people like to use at this point, but I'm not lying when I say we can tell when we're reading those, and it's not helpful for you because this is really your opportunity to personally advocate for yourself and to introduce yourself to the faculty. And if you are having an app or a code write it for you, you're losing out on an opportunity to really speak for yourself and to make a case for your own admission. And then that resume and CV is really where you can highlight what you've been doing outside of the classroom. Are there projects you've been working on, publications to your name, an internship or a summer job that you did where you developed skills that you maybe haven't gotten to learn about in the classroom yet? Those are really opportunities for you to tell us more than what's on your transcripts and to really help us to get a fuller picture of you as an applicant.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Kat. Catherine, there's another question which has come up from one of the students from Africa. He's asking, can we apply for various graduate programs without a IELTS or a TOEFL or another English proficiency test score, as well as is GRE and GMAT scores required for applying for a graduate program?
Yeah, so at GW Engineering, the GRE is not required. It's optional for all of our programs, both at the master's and PhD level. So if you're not particularly interested in doing the GRE or you didn't do very well, you do not have to submit those scores. On the other hand, if you did do them, if you are very proud, you are welcome to submit them and we will consider them as part of the application. In terms of English language test scores, typically we do require it from all international applicants. The university does have a list of countries which are exempt. So if you did your undergraduate or graduate studies at a country on this exempt list, you are able to apply without submitting English language test scores. I can share the international admissions webpage for the School of Engineering specifically, and that does have a link to that list of exempted countries. So a student can determine whether or not they would fit into that. And if you have any questions, you can please, guys, always email my office at engineering@gw.edu, and we are happy to help you with whatever you might be struggling with during the application process.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Catherine. Dr. Shu, one of the questions which has come up is how do you see deep learning transforming the entire EEG analysis in the next few years and an enhanced use of this particular technology in identifying and picking out insights from the clinical data? Are there any big breakthroughs coming in this particular area very soon?
Yes, so use an everyday life example. If you have access to ChatGPT, you can see that's one of the deep learning application change the world totally. And you can see the big companies' reaction. Google is so nervous about ChatGPT replacing the search industry. So basically, the saying is anything computer science or any traditional industry, there's an opportunity to redo part of the process using the deep learning. The last breakthrough is the kind of a smartphone. So anything worth kind of redo it on a smartphone. And the one before that is the internet. So consider the deep learning breakthrough is equally important to the smartphone breakthrough and internet breakthrough. So basically, no matter you notice or not, it's already changing the world. And the changing will happen no matter you are aware of it or something like that. For example, just to echo on the application part. So before ChatGPT, I only allow 10 to 12 students to request kind of a letter of recommendation from me to apply for master and PhD student. I'm busy. I'm a professor. So students give me in the last 2 to 3 weeks a lot of things to write. So currently there are some students email me a list of kind of 15 graduate school, including Harvard, Yale, those kind of things, and due in December 1st. I'm pretty busy. I cannot write that much. After ChatGPT, I can write about 30 to 50 students. Guess why? All right, it's much efficient for us to do a lot of repetitive tasks.
Got it. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Shu. Catherine, one of the student who has joined us today, Ms. Smita, she has pinged me a question on chat, which I'd like to take it up. I guess that would be more helpful for all the students at large who have joined us. Can you throw some more light about the career services department at GW? How do the placements go about at GW Engineering? Do companies visit on campus or are there career fairs? How is the entire career services scenario at GW Engineering?
Yeah, well, so what I can say first off is that in the United States, job opportunities in relation to your program are going to look very different from in India. So I know in India, you guys have placement where your school is involved in placing you at specific companies. That is not going to be the case at most US universities. You would be responsible for finding those opportunities for yourself, and the Career Services Office is really there as a resource to help you do that search, to help you to find those opportunities. So as a GW student, you will get access to a platform called Handshake, where you'll be able to create a profile for yourself, identify what areas you're interested in working in, and you'll be able to connect directly with employers who already know and are familiar with GW and want to hire GW students. And then, of course, as I mentioned, we do have the General Career Services Office that is offered to all students across the university. And then there's the W. Scott Amy Career Services Center within the School of Engineering specifically, that is there to help our engineering and applied science students. And yes, they will host career fairs. They'll bring companies to campus to do info sessions or interviews or networking events. You can schedule an appointment with one of the career counselors or coaches to look over your specific profile and to help you to identify areas that are going to be great opportunities for you to be searching into for companies to apply for. And if you get that offer, they'll help you with the job negotiation, the salary, things of that sort. And you'll continue to have access to the Career Services Center for at least 1 year after you graduate. So you're not totally stranded and not having any help. But it is, again, a resource and a service that is provided for you, but that nobody's going to force you to use. So we encourage students to start taking advantage of the Career Services Center from day one of their master's program. But unfortunately, if you don't go, you don't go. That's on you. So we strongly encourage you to do what you can, take advantage of those opportunities, because we are not going to be placing you in a specific job opportunity. If that's something you want in your graduate program, that's something you're going to have to work on finding and getting the resources and the help that we offer.
All right. Thank you so much for such an elaborate answer, Catherine. It's 9 o'clock dot here in India and 10:30 a.m. in the United States. One last thing before we close the session. First of all, thank you so much, Dr. Xu and Catherine, for taking out the time and joining with us today. Before we close, I would like to tell everyone, all the students who have joined us today, a bit more about the Seed Scholarship Fund, wherein we are having scholarships worth up to 3.5 million plus and 150 plus awards in multiple criteria such as MBA, Business Masters, and STEM Masters. George Washington School of Engineering and Applied Sciences is also offering up to 4 awards covering 75% of your tuition fee. The round 2 deadline is 15th of November. And if you're looking forward to studying a STEM Masters in the United States, then George Washington Engineering is your place to go. Proceed ahead and start with your applications right now as the clock is ticking. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Thank you so much, Catherine. Thank you so much, Dr. Xu, for joining with us today, and see you all soon. Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bye.
Have a great evening.
Have a good morning.